Hey team, thanks for joining us for our weekly Monday night huddle. I'm Amber Ike, your Emerald upline, and I'm just so excited that you guys jump on. And you are in for a treat tonight. Before we get right into it, I just have a couple quick announcements. We have our online Facebook event this Thursday night. It's a team-wide event, and that is at 8 p.m. Central Standard. So make sure you get added to that if you need to be added, and you can. This is a great way to personally invite your friends and family to learn more about our products, our company, and our opportunity. And then you guys, they just announced that Little Big Town is going to be at convention. So I am super excited. I'm probably going to be blasting their music in the next couple months just so I make sure I know all the words before I get there. But that is so exciting. So that's a fun little surprise. And then you guys, I am just so excited that you guys jumped on tonight because my amazing friend, Dawn Andrews, we met, when did we meet? I guess last September or something is when
I think so, August, September. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when we really connected. And it's just been so fun to lock arms together and run the race to Emerald together. And then, hopefully just straight to Diamond from there. But I have learned so much from Dawn. She is such a go-getter, and she just treats this like a business. So you guys get ready to take some notes because you are going to just get taught tonight. So Dawn, take it away, girl.
Okay. All right. Well, yay. Thank you so much, Amber, for having me. Thank you, team. How cool. There's 31 people on the call. That's a really good turnout. That's awesome. So yeah, like Amber said, we've just become what we call PFFs in the Plexus Royal, Plexus Friends Forever, and really have had a great time doing challenges together and supporting one another and learning about each other's teams. And I think I'll just kind of put that out there. Get a sideline if you don't already have someone that's a sideline. And I oftentimes think it's really nice to go outside of your own team because you learn so much by becoming friends and locking arms with other people because every team does it differently. And I've learned so much from Amber and the way that she leads you, and I know vice versa. And so just as a little business tip, I think that's hugely, hugely important to find those sidelines, lock arms, brainstorm with those people. And it's so fun when you get to go to the convention and leaders retreat and things like that, and you get to see your PFF. That makes it all the more fun. But anyway, so let me get into, I will share my testimony. Like she said, I'm Dawn Andrews, Emerald Ambassador with Plexus. I started Plexus in January of 2014. I am in Virginia, and at the time, no one had heard of Plexus in Virginia. It was like going on a really, really big limb when I decided to start sharing this business. Within 2 months of sort of starting the products, I really fell in love with the products. Probably like many of you guys, I saw it on Facebook and thought it sounded pretty cool and I bought it as an ambassador and started my products right away. I went into it lightheartedly, trying to lose a little weight. I have 5 kids. At the time, I was homeschooling my kids. So I was just a tired mom that had about 20 pounds to lose. So that was really all I had going. I hadn't worked in a decade, so I'd been a stay-at-home mom. So I thought, it would be really neat if I could contribute a little bit. My husband owns a business, and he'd always worked really, really hard. And so I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could come up with $200 a month, maybe 500 if I'm lucky. I mean, so really completely lighthearted when I started this business. Like I said, a couple months into it, I started to really catch the vision for the products, understanding that it was so much more than weight loss. I started to have the health benefits, like I'm sure many of you guys, lots and lots of energy, better skin, better hair, brighter eyes, feeling like $1 million. So I went into that spring of 2014 really on fire, ready to share and build the business. Launched my business really in February of that year. Threw it out on Facebook, started getting friends and family and a lot of interest, and that's sort of how it started to roll. So I rolled into the spring and promoted to gold and then senior gold by May of that same year. So it was like by the skin of my teeth on May the 31st, and then on June the 2nd, I went in for a mammogram. And this is sort of where I say my plot, there's a great plot twist to my story with this mammogram. I was 39 at the time, so I had never needed a mammogram before. But as I was losing the weight, the plexus is helping me to lose the weight. By this time, I had lost about 20 pounds. I started to notice that my right breast was a little bit larger than my left. So I was a little concerned. So went in for the mammogram. And pretty much before I even left the office, you guys, it was like in the breast care navigator, sitting at the chair, in the chair, and they say, you know, you need to prepare yourself. You have breast cancer. We're almost 100% sure. Of course, we'll do the biopsy and confirm, but prepare yourself, prepare your family. This is going to be a long road. You're 39 and this looks fairly aggressive. So that was the news that I got on June the 2nd. And, you know, as you can imagine, that is a life-changing moment. That is where everything sort of flashes before your eyes. At the time I had, my youngest was 3 years old when I was diagnosed. My oldest at the time was 13. So, you know, young mom. And the irony of the situation is I felt better than I had felt since I could remember. I had felt better. I was more excited about life than I'd ever been. I was so passionate about building my Plexus business. I had dreamed the big dream, so to speak. I had seen myself on that stage. I had imagined what it was going to be like to be a diamond. I imagined what financial freedom looked like for my family and my husband retiring. And like I had it all visualized and mapped out. And so when I got the diagnosis of breast cancer, it was a moment. I mean, that was a big piece of my not being okay with my diagnosis. I mean, as I'm thinking about contemplating, like, you know, how am I going to be a good mom? How am I going to survive this? What is my future going to look like? It was, my Plexus business was very important to me at that point. And so that was a piece of like, what am I going to do about my business? And how am I going to continue to build my Plexus business and continue to keep the momentum going on my team? Because at that point, I just reached that senior gold and had a lot of really great momentum moving into the summer. And you guys, I really did. I mean, as far as Plexus is concerned, I made a really intentional decision that cancer wasn't going to take my Plexus business. I mean, that was just like, you know, earlier in the spring, I had visualized and thought, I drew my line in the sand. I had stepped over my line. I put my blinders on, decided to go full speed ahead. And in that, you know, I'd heard a professional network marketer kind of use that visualization. I just really, you know, I was warned. They say, you're going to have roadblocks. You're going to have things that happen. Life's going to happen. The excuses are going to happen. So to me, I thought, you know, I was warned that that life was going to happen, that this wasn't going to be easy. Now, you know, what ended up being a stage 3 breast cancer diagnosis, pretty serious roadblock. But again, decided to be super intentional and continue working the business around my cancer. And that's really what sort of I ended up doing. So instead of being with moms and play groups and PTA meetings and well, I wasn't the PTA at that time, I am now, but homeschool, because I was homeschooling, but around that kind of environment with kids and moms, I wasn't in that environment much anymore. So instead of sharing there, I started to share where I was planted. So if I was with doctors, I was going to tell the doctors about it. I was going to tell nurses about Plexus. I was telling sick patients in waiting rooms about Plexus. And so just taking samples and catalogs and that's sort of a business tip for you guys. Share Plexus where you are. There's never going to be the perfect scenario, so to speak, and your place where you are might change. And just be ready. And if you are truly passionate and you have it and you really believe in these products and you know that they change lives the way that they do, be ready to share whatever you're planted in your life. And so that's sort of what I continue to do. And the momentum of the spring carried me, you know, to Ruby, and then ultimately Senior Ruby by that year of November 2014. I was able to use the products throughout all of my treatment. I had chemo, 6 rounds of pretty harsh chemo. I had surgery, a mastectomy, and then followed up by radiation. So I, of course, had to have all the products approved by my doctors, and they were okay with them. You know, the doctors are pretty much the philosophy, you know, it's not going to hurt you. So I guess it's not FDA approved. We can't really put our stamp of approval on anything, but if it's not going to hurt you and you feel like it's going to help you, then go for it. And that's pretty much, you know, and I said, absolutely, it's going to help me. And let me tell you guys, the Plexus products and the Plexus health and the energy that it was able to give me was just hands down unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I was able to kind of go through what is the harshest chemo. They socked it to me. I was 39, stage 3. It was not pretty. And I was able to sort of go through that and then bounce back much, much quicker than in my counterparts. I mean, I met women that were my same age that were going through much of the same thing. And these women were, they were down and out. I mean, we're talking about, and I'd have it every 3 weeks and they were just down, couldn't even lift their head to hardly go to the grocery store, couldn't really be a good mom. And, I had a very different encounter. I mean, chemo was hard, don't get me wrong. And it feels like the eternal flu. I always joked around, I'm like, it's like a really, really bad hangover for a few days, but you didn't have fun the night before, so it's just not cool. But Plexus really helped to be able to really bounce back from all of that. So the products were amazing, carried me through it, allowed me to continue. I worked my business around not feeling well, so if I knew that, if I was going to have chemo and I knew that the best I was going to feel was the Sunday before my next round, that's the Sunday that I would have a team training. That's the Sunday that I do a team call. And so just really kind of working around and understanding that life was different. Life was getting harder, but remember, dream that big dream. So it was worth it to me to figure it out. And so that's sort of how I proceeded in my business during that season of my life. So continued to work it, got into the spring. And here's the really interesting part. I found that in that springtime, when I felt, I was senior Ruby in November, I thought I'll get to Emerald, it'll be great. I'll just kind of keep moving and grooving. Well, my business came to a standstill. And what happened was all of the things that I wasn't able to do, like Amber does for you guys, the team calls, the trainings, the contests, all the fun stuff that keeps everybody moving forward, I really wasn't able to do while I was going through the ending part of my chemo and my surgery. And so it affected my business. And so that's another kind of business tip I'm going to throw out there. When you start to build momentum, that momentum, you've got to work really hard to keep it going. You got to keep fanning that flame. It's kind of like you got the little small spark, and as a team leader, you got to just fan it to keep it going, because once the kind of the spark goes out and the momentum stops, it's very, very difficult to kind of rebuild. And I found myself in that position in the spring and had to really rebuild and kind of dig in, figure out what my team was going to need. A lot of really great people kind of fell by the wayside. Anyway, so in that season, there was a great rebuilding. And I throw that out there because I think that's important for everybody, because, we hear about people in our company that shoot straight to the top in 5 months, or they go straight to the top in 6 months. But I always liked hearing about the people that struggled. I mean, honestly, when I was on a call and I was being fed and learning, I wanted to hear about the people that got stuck and what they did and how they persevered and what that looked like. Because to me, that's encouraging to know that it's not easy. I mean, there's life stuff like cancer is going to happen, and then momentum stops, and you got to keep pushing, and you got to keep building, and you got to keep digging in and figuring out what it is that you have to do to move your business forward. So that took a while. It took a long time for me to figure that out and to get the business rolling again with my team and get some new blood in there. I think that's always important. You got to constantly be putting new energetic people, like adding your level ones. And, that's really where the energy comes from, usually, is those new people getting injected into a team, new blood. And so then, yay, Emerald finally happened for me. I say finally, not that it was that long. It was 2 years, but in December of this past year, on the last day of the year. And I always say that God is the great redeemer, because December of 2014 for me was the worst month of my life. That was the month that I had surgery, that they found that it was stage 3. I had 26 positive lymph nodes, and I honestly didn't know if I was going to make it. And when you contemplate like not surviving, and you've got little babies, little children, that is something that when your mind goes there, that is pretty devastating. But let you guys know, I had this, after all of that, yes, we weren't sure if cancer had spread. We weren't sure if it was going to be a stage 4 with that kind of outcome, but it hadn't. I had scans that right after, cancer-free. I continue to be cancer-free, continue to have nothing. I'm healthy. I'm loving it. Everything's all good. But the great redemption was December of 2014 was the worst month of my life. And then God redeemed me in December of 2015, and Plexus, I went Emerald, which for me was part of my huge why for really building this business was to beat cancer, to say, you know, cancer, you took a lot of things from me. You took my hair, you took my health temporarily, you took me being the mom that I wanted to be and the wife that I wanted to be for a long time. But I didn't want cancer to take my plexus business, take it down. And so getting to that space for me of Emerald was sort of going, yes, that's it. That's where the line was drawn. That was success. And so for that to happen on December 31st of 2015 was pretty stinking cool. So I'm just grateful for God, you know, that God shows up like that he says, I will make good. I will make the worst, even in the worst of times, I promise to make good on it. And so in fact, I feel like he absolutely has used Plexus in every single way to do that for me and my family, to make good on, you know, make good on his promises. So that's my story in a nutshell. And so when Amber and I were talking about, you know, me coming on and like, well, what do you want to talk about? What kind of topic? And I said, you know, one thing that really stands out for me that I think I can talk passionately about is how important it is to do hard things. We kind of came up with that title of Do Hard Things because my journey was hard. I mean, it was hard from the time I got diagnosed with cancer to pushing through, to continuing to build the business, continuing to pour into a team, and then get stuck and and then it was hard again. And so it was just a continual journey of having to do the hard things in order to get over the hump and to find the success. And so what I'm going to do, and then the first thing I want to do with all 35 people that are on the call, and I'm going to assume that if you're on this call, you're on Amber's team, and you took the time on your Monday night to get on this call, that you really want this, that you have at some point, even if you just joined yesterday, I don't care. I'm just going to assume that you get this. You get how cool this opportunity is, and you really understand. And I want you guys to all just take a minute.
Uh-oh, Dawn, are you there? You froze.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? I got the unstable connection, the dreaded unstable connection message. Why? Okay. Well, that was a good pause though, because I want you guys to dig really deep right now. I want you to visualize what your life looks like when you get to the top of this company. And is that emerald? Is that sapphire? Is that diamond? Wherever that is. And we'll just say diamond, right? Because diamond's like real financial freedom, like crazy financial freedom, right? If you don't already know, it's like, it's like crazy. I want you to really dig deep and think about what it is that you want your life to look like at that point. All right. So is it you're quitting your job? If you're working full time, I want you to imagine walking into your boss and handing them your resignation because you're a smashing success. You've gone all the way in your Plexus business and it's going to be your full-time gig, and you get to say goodbye to all your coworkers and the going away party. I want you to like go there in your mind. Or maybe it's your husband works 3 jobs and he's working all the time and you're a stay-at-home mom and you want to be able to retire your husband. You want to be able to go to him on that day and say, honey, you can quit your job now. You and I can do this Plexus gig together, and we can be home with our kids, and we can, have family dinners at night. You don't have to be gone as much. All right. Whatever it looks like for you, if you're a single mom and maybe you now can, you can pay for your kids to go if it's private school, or if it's that gymnastics team that your daughter wanted to be on that you couldn't afford, right? Okay, that's the kind of stuff I need you to do. I need you to take a minute and go really, really deep. And I'm gonna be quiet while you do it and take a sip of water. And so what I call this is the why that makes you cry. That's the why you have to have for this business. The why that makes you cry. And it might even be a why that's so personal and so deep that you can't even, it's only between you and God, and that's okay. But it needs to be a why that makes you cry. Because the why that makes you cry is what's going to push you to do the hard things that I'm getting ready to talk about. because in this business, this business is all about digging deep, personal development, personal growth, pushing yourself farther than you think you can even go. And then ultimately becoming the best version of yourself. And when you're the best version of yourself, then you're the best version of yourself for everybody in your life, for your kids, for your husband, for your family. All right, so that's where we really want to go with this. All right, so now that you found the why that makes you cry, now we're going to talk about hard stuff. And this hard stuff looks different for everybody. It really does, because some going, do the hard stuff, go do the hard stuff, you can do it, do the hard stuff. Okay, guys? All right, so it's going to look different for everybody though. Now, maybe it's for you going into a store and you're standing in the store and you're standing in the checkout line and you overhear somebody talking about being tired or talking about, you know, being achy or whatever it is. And we all know we've had those moments. Even the most extroverted, outgoing person has had the moment where they're like, oh my goodness, I think I should tell them about Plexus. Plexus could really help, but oh, do I really want to do it? I feel kind of embarrassed. There's that defining moment where you have the opportunity to speak up and speak out and say, hey, I'd love to tell you about this thing Plexus. It's really been a great benefit to me that might be a benefit to you. I've got a sample. Have you, you know, that moment you have it, and you know, because we've all done it. I've included myself when I didn't say anything, and then I go get in the car and I drive home, and I'm like, man, I missed that opportunity. And here's the deal: when you miss that opportunity and you don't speak up and you don't do the hard thing that makes you uncomfortable, what if you could have changed that person's life? What if that person was standing there with an array of health issues? You only heard the one about them not having, you know, maybe that person had MS or RA or fibromyalgia. And just by speaking up and for a moment getting out of your comfort zone and doing that hard thing, you could have changed that person's life. Because that's really the gift that we have with Plexus. In a split second, you can change someone's life. All right, so maybe that's your hard thing. And maybe your hard thing is going into your doctor's office, your dentist's office, your hair salon, the front desk of the teacher in your kid's school, and being armed with samples. Just walking in and saying, hey, have you guys ever heard of Plexus? I've had wonderful health benefits with this product. I would love to share with you, and handing out samples, which that is not a hard thing to do because everybody loves something for free. But for some people, that is a hard comfort zone thing. And so arm yourself with your samples, be ready, get your head wrapped around before you walk into the doctor's office or that dentist's office that's the hard thing that day that you're going to do. You're going to step out of your zone and you're going to go and give out those samples and make those connections. For many, many people, videos are hard. All right. Making a video is really difficult. But I challenge you, if you haven't already done a video, and even if you have already done a why video, do it again, because your why changes as you develop yourself, as you get into this company, as you see the vision. And that why that we talked about that makes you cry, dig deep to be able to convey that at some level. And I understand that many, many whys are personal, and that's fine. But find the line, the borderline that you can share your why to your Facebook audience on a video, because that is something that will be life-changing for you to be able to articulate it, but it's also life-changing for the people that are watching. It draws people in to your story. It makes you vulnerable. It makes you personable. It makes people want to get on board with you. And so do that video. It should not be over 5 minutes. Try to keep it around 3 minutes. That's about people's attention span. But do it. That is hard. I know that's a hard one for many, many people, but that will change your business. It will change your life. So do your why video. If you don't already have a chicken list, you need to have you have to have that chicken list. I'm sure you guys talk about that. Those are the people on your list that you're terrified to talk to. That at some point you think they're smarter than you. You think that they've got a better network than you. Maybe they were cooler in high school. I don't know, but we all have those people that when we think about them, they kind of make us do this. But we can imagine if they were on our team, they would blow it out of the water, that they would be rock stars and they would just completely rock this business. And so if you don't already have a chicken list, have a chicken list, at least 10 people on your list, probably 20, but at least 10. And then you have to go talk to them. You have to reach out to them. And, you know, that can be something as simple as a Facebook message, a personal message. I love phone calls. You know, if you have that relationship with a person, give them a call. Something that I personally did with my chicken list, this was last spring when I was really in that rebuilding mode and I was like, I gotta get new energy, is I picked my 10 people. And then I made a video for those 10, just those 10 people. And it was like, if you're watching this video, that means I think that you're awesome. I think that you would completely rock this business. I would love to be partners and locking arms with you. Let's do this together. So I like made a video to talk to them because I wanted to go just a step further than just personal messaging them. And I wanted them to hear my passion and hear my affirmation of them in the video. So maybe that's something that you could do. That would be hard. I mean, believe me, even I don't mind doing videos and I'm pretty extroverted, but when you're clicking send to somebody that you're not really sure how they're going to receive it, it still makes you feel uncomfortable. And that's okay, because guess what? Out of my video, when I did my chicken list, one of my people that was on my chicken list was Lisa Winecoop. And she's a well-known chiropractor in the area. And I thought she was way smarter than me. She knew way more about supplements than me. I mean, I was terrified. She had never liked anything that I had ever posted. She had never contacted me, but I went after her. She ended up joining my team, and I didn't know it at the time, but she had MS and RA. Plexus products ended up completely changing her life within 30 days, and she is almost my primary leg. And she joined like right in the summer. So she's a senior gold, and she's got the team. Because of who she is, her team's full of, she has a doctor on her team, like an actual medical doctor. She has holistic, like farmers and supplement people. They're like the product, because they're all really smart and they all get it. And so I had this wonderful resource just because for one moment I wasn't afraid to press the send button. So I want to challenge you guys, work your chicken list, okay? Now, for many people, talking in public is a big one, right, guys? So if that's you, decide that you're going to do that. You're going to give your testimony at a meeting. You're going to get on a Zoom call and give your testimony. You're going to speak in public. If it terrifies you, that's good, and that's okay, because it terrifies most people, so you're not alone in it. And many times when you just kind of say that to people in the very beginning, people are like, oh, okay, good, she's scared, because I would be scared too. So it's totally fine, but you got to do it. All right, so I'm going to challenge you to do that hard thing if you've never done it before. Do a hard thing, plan a meeting. If you've never planned your own meeting, don't be afraid of that. Don't wait for Amber to do them for you. Don't wait for your team leaders to do them. You have to do it. You have to be the one. You've got to be the leader before you even have people following you. That's really important. And, for me personally, it was good because I was in Virginia and there was nobody else here. All my upline was in Texas, so I didn't have any support. So I found myself in more than one occasion having to just do it for lack of somebody else doing it. So in a way that was good. But if you're in a position where you have lots of stuff going on and it's easy to kind of let somebody else do all the planning and it's just kind of easy to show up, imagine if you didn't have that, how would you do it differently? What kind of resources would you be offering to your team and to your potentials if you didn't have that support? And go on and do it. Plan the meeting. If you've never done a Zoom event, get a Zoom account. I challenge everybody here to get your account. It's super easy. It's free. Have your account and then go ahead and do it. For me, I've always been very intimidated by technology. And I feel like I'm not good at it. I feel like I'm always going to screw it up. And I realized last year, it was like last January, that I was invited to do it was like a national thing. It was kind of like all over. I forgot what they called it. They didn't do it this year. It was like the summit, the virtual summit or something. And I was invited to share my testimony. And I had never done Google Hangout or any of it. I was terrified. I was so scared that I was going to mess it up. And I kind of did mess it up, honestly. But I remember feeling so scared to do it that I was like, you know what, I never want to feel scared like that again, because it was just awful. So I decided at that moment to master technology. I'm like, I'm never going to be a master of technology like some people that are really good at it, but I wasn't going to let it like scare me anymore. So, got Zoom, figured out how to do some of that Google Hangout stuff, got all the accounts I needed, and then just started practicing, and completely botched like the first 5 Zooms I ever did with my team. It was awful, but they got better. Every time you do it, you get better and you get better and you get better, right? It's practice. So get your Zoom account and then schedule a Zoom meeting. And it doesn't have to be huge. I mean, Amber obviously has a great team meeting. She's got 35 people on here. Maybe it's just you and 2 other people on your team, and you just talk and you hang out and you do it, and you toss around some ideas, because you start that way. And then the next thing you do is you plan a small opportunity meeting. You get 5 of your friends to jump on, and then you've got this mini opportunity meeting. And then so you can really utilize that. But don't be afraid to use Zoom and technology to your advantage. And I mentioned this a minute ago because I wrote this down. I think this is important. Be a leader before you have followers. Don't wait till you feel like, oh, now I'm a gold, I have a team, now I'll be a leader. Oh, I'll wait till I'm a senior gold, because that's like for real leader. Even if you just started, even if you're not even a silver, if you have 0 ambassadors, act like a leader. Okay, because in that dream, we'll kind of rewind when we were dreaming and we were visualizing who we are in this business. If you visualize yourself on that, walking across that stage, getting your diamond earrings and your diamond whatever they give, I don't really know because I haven't gotten them yet, but whatever you get, all right, if you've seen yourself on that stage, that's who you want to be. That's how you want to carry yourself. That's how you want to lead in your own way. That's how you want to be when you go to the meetings. Dress the part, act the part, even before you get the part. Okay, that's huge. Go to the event. This is hard, I know, especially when we have small children. I mean, Amber is a great example of that. It's hard to get a sitter. It's hard to get out at night. I have the same thing, it's busy. But figure it out, because really we do what we want to do, right? When we really want something, and when it's important to us, we figure out a way to get it done. And if we don't, then we do the excuse thing. Or I'm gonna put this out there, and I want you to always remember this. You never say, I'll try to do something. When you say, I try, that's basically failing with honor. You either will, let's say you will show up for the opportunity event, or you won't show up for the opportunity event. But I'll try to get there, that's not going to fly. It's I will or I won't, right? Get the sitter, make it happen. But get to the events, because we all know that meetings make money. We all have heard the cliche, that's where leaders are born, right? So get there, and we have the opportunity of a lifetime events that are going on all over. Of course, convention, that's huge. Kind of bummed they're sold out, right? But if you're not already going, put yourself on the wait list, figure out a way to get there. Work for Leaders Retreat, work, because that is a game changer, because you get to really, really see what our company is all about at Leaders Retreat. Get to the events that Amber is planning. Get to the events that your team is planning. That is so hugely important to get connected and stay connected. Okay, here's a big one. You might have to protect yourself from negative, toxic people in your life, okay? And that might be hard, because those negative, toxic people that are trying to steal your dream, that are trying to tell you that you're not enough, that you're not good enough, and that you're never going to make it, might be the people that are really close to you. All right, and if you do have those people that are really, really close to you, I'm first going to say I'm sorry. That's hard. I get it. That is really, really tough, but you wouldn't be alone. It's not unusual in this business. You will hear it when you start kind of opening up, and it's something a lot of times people don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about an unsupportive husband or a best friend or a mom or a sister, because that's hard. But it's real. It happens. A lot of people don't get the vision. People don't get the dream, and they're not getting it, for a while. So it might be hard to protect yourself. I mean, you can't walk away. I get it. You can't do that. But you can mentally create a mental discipline and a mental strategy to overcome it. Okay. And so do that hard thing of protecting yourself from negative, toxic people that want to tell you that you're not good enough and try to steal your dream, because that's not okay. That's just not okay. And you have to decide that it's not okay and that you're going to press on despite them. And if you're rebellious like me, that's even more incentive to be like, I'm going to show you, right? You think I can't do it? Let's just go. Let's just go there. So if you got to have a little, get a little rebellious, have a little bit of a cocky attitude about it, that's going to be okay. We're okay. I'm okay with that. But don't let those people, those negative people, take away a dream. Because remember, you're on that stage getting your diamonds. Let's see. Find time when there is none. I get it. There's never enough time. We're all going to be tired. There's never going to be enough time. You got to find it. You got to figure it out. That might mean you got to get up earlier. And that's hard. I don't like to get up earlier, but I do. You get up earlier. You stay up later. The easy ones are the give up the TV shows. You might have to sacrifice. You might have to sacrifice some harder things and make choices, because in this business, the work that you put on the front end in the very beginning, it is hard work. All right. And it does eventually I think I know that as I've kind of grown, the work that I do now is a lot different. And to me is easier than I did on the front end. All right. But you got to dig in. You got to be willing. You've got to be willing to do the work before you're getting a huge return on your investment. But you got to be willing to do it. And that looks like staying up later, getting up earlier, and sacrificing maybe some downtime. But you got to be willing to do it if you want to make in this business. So then I'm going to kind of wrap it up. But some other things, make the call that you're afraid to make. Give more than you get in return right away. I mean, I kind of just try to be willing to give more, and it takes a while, because kind of getting that return on investment might take you to Ruby, Senior Ruby, Emerald level, but be willing to be okay with not a huge return and right away. It takes a while. It can take months, it can take years, but it will pop. I mean, that's the thing about this compensation plan and this company. If you stay consistent and you stay in it and you stay putting your blinders on and pushing forward, you will succeed. It's not like an if thing. It's not like a few lucky people get it. You will. The consistent people will succeed. That's where the rubber meets the road, though, because in that hard stuff of getting there, lots of people give up. Lots of people say, it's too much. It's too hard. I can't do it. I can't do it. So there's going to be people along the way that do that. Don't be one of them. All right. 34 people left on the call. Don't be one of those people that gives up right before you hit it. All right. And sometimes you have to care about others more than they care about you. All right. That's part of this business, is loving people, caring about people, going the extra mile for people more than you're getting in return. And you've got to be okay with that too. You've got to not ever have an expectation of what someone else is going to do in return for you. You just do it with no expectation of anything in return. And here's another thing I'm going to add. If you're a team leader, if you have a team, there's a really good chance in your journey somebody's not going to like what you do. Somebody's not going to like the way that you lead. Somebody's not going to like what you said on a team call. Somebody's not going to like that you forgot to recognize them. Okay, that's going to happen. Amber's like nodding, and I'm like, yes. The bigger your team gets, the more people you tick off. All right, that's just the way it is. And, I always just, if I run into that situation, which I do have team members that whatever, it's like I would never intentionally offend you, okay? But I've also seen where that's happened to some of my team members, where they've had a team member that didn't like the way they did it, criticize, and they shrink. They shrink back. They start to take that on as that they've done something wrong, and they start to shrink back, they start to pull back, and they lose some of their passion and excitement for the business because they're getting negative criticism from other team members. And I don't want you to do that, because it's not if you're getting negative feedback and people are not loving everything that you do, that's normal. And really that's their problem. It's not yours. So I want you to just kind of brush that off. It's okay. You proceed forward in humility and let them know I would never do anything to offend you. You know, I absolutely want the best for you. Let's try to move forward and move on. And generally when you take a humble approach, everybody's okay and everybody's best friends again. But don't be surprised when it happens. It's not like if it's going to happen, it is going to happen as you grow. Sometimes you have to fight for your team's growth. I mean, it's very likely that you could go backwards in points, that you could get to a level and then all of a sudden you find yourself kind of moving backwards. And that's when you have to fight. You have to fight a little bit harder. You have to figure it. You have to just be willing to figure it out. And many, many times that means looking in the mirror. That means getting into a personal development book, reading the John Maxwell books, reading the leadership books, the self-talk, whatever it is. Generally, that's the roadblock. It has a lot to do with what's going on inside, and that's when you have to personally grow. So be willing to fight for growth and fight for your team by looking in the mirror and looking at maybe ways that you could improve upon yourself. And then I've got just a few more little things. You have to feel unsafe and insecure when playing it safe will be a lot easier. And that's the nature of this business. This business is for people that are willing to go out on a limb and feel unsafe and insecure and not play it safe. Let's see. You have to grind out the details when it's easier to shrug them off, especially right now. Just throw that out there, the back office. I mean, not the back. Yeah, like shipping and all, right? Like I really want to run away. Like when I put a customer care thread out once a week and I have 50 things that are wrong, I want to go run and hide because the thought of having to call customer service and work through all of these issues and like it just terrifies me. But it would be easier to shrug that off, right? Because it's not really, well, it's my team's problem, right? It's their problems. But that's when you look at the problems, you don't shrug it off, you get down to the nitty gritty, you get to the details, and that's kind of sometimes right now, that's the hard thing I have to do every Monday is call customer service and like spend hours on hold. But be willing to do it because that sometimes you have to do it. We won't always have to do that. And you have to be ready to deliver results. Deliver results when making an excuse would be much, much easier. Okay? You have to be a producer. Be a producer. Add people to your team. Be doing 7-day challenges. Be doing team calls. Be constantly being producing, and delivering. And I'm just going to this is just really good. So I'm going to just kind of read it, but also say it. You have to keep moving towards where you want to be, no matter what is in front of you. Okay. No matter what is in front of you, whether it be an illness, whether it be a life challenge, whether it be a toxic person, something's going to probably be in front of you. If there's nothing in front of you now, it's just a matter of time. Something will get in front of you and try to stop your success. You have to keep willing to keep moving forward and do these hard things. You have to do the hard things that nobody else is doing. Okay, look around. Well, actually put your blinders on. Don't look around. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just and keep moving forward and be willing to do the things that other people might not be willing to do. The things that scare you, that there's some things that we talked about, the things that sometimes might even make you wonder how much longer you can hold on. You're like, how much longer can I be a gold? Really? I've been a gold for a year. Can I really keep doing this? I've been at 100 points for a year. Yes, keep doing it because you're not going to be at 100 points for another year. I promise you. Okay? Keep doing it even when you feel like you just want to throw in the towel and give up. Because those are the things, these hard things that I've talked about, and there's tons and tons of others. And you probably can think of some that I haven't mentioned that would be really hard for you. But those are the things that define you in this business. Those are the things these hard things that we've talked about and the hard things in life in general, that's what makes an ordinary person extraordinary. Really, because we're all ordinary people coming into this, right? Nobody's more special than another. Nobody's more smarter, wealthier, has a better network. I mean, we come into this business as equals with the same products, the same opportunity, and the same website. And so what separates when we go from ordinary to extraordinary, that's because those people have done the hard things to get to the extraordinary. So be one of those. Be one of those people that gets to extraordinary because you've been willing to do the hard things to get there. And then that is what will make the difference in living a mediocre life of mediocrity and every day, and take you to a place of being an outrageous success and living the life of your dreams, the life that we dreamed about in the beginning, the life that you want for you and your family, and that why that makes you cry is the thing that's going to get you there. So go do hard things, y'all. Peace out.
So good. Wow. Oh my gosh. So good, Dawn. I just have a couple of takeaways, and then if we can speak for like 5 more minutes for Q&A maybe.
Yeah.
I know it's like almost 11 o'clock out there. This is one thing I love about Dawn. Well, I love so much, but one thing I love is, she has 5 kids. Life is crazy busy. She makes sure she puts her kids and family first and everything. But she will work her business like, when people are tucked into bed, good to go for the night, she is up working her business. And I admire that so much, because the rest of us could easily just be like, oh, I'm too tired, I'll get to it tomorrow. She's like, no, that is my business time. So I love that. One thing I love about your story, Dawn, it just hit me, is how I love how the Lord put Plexus in your life before that all happened, because although I know that you're a believer and you have hope and all that stuff, I know how different our Plexus culture is. And we are like dreamers, and we can see the future, and we have big goals. And so the fact that He put Plexus in your life before you had the cancer happen, I just think that was so neat that He did that, because it gave you something to look forward to. Like, as sucky as that time was for your life, you had a bigger plan in your life. You knew that.
Yeah, that's the long version of my testimony. I always say that, like, the layers of blessings are just kind of hard for me to articulate, because it was truly, Plexus was the bright spot in all of it. It was the thing that propelled me forward, and a wonderful community of positive people. And I love that I was able to kind of use the platform of Plexus to be able to blog my cancer journey, and to be able to speak it, and to be able to inspire others, and to give other women going through cancer, much like me, hope. I mean, I honestly, on I'll say every day, I get several messages a day from people that say, my sister has cancer, my friend, what do you think? Can you help? And I'm like, yeah, and many times I'll get on the phone with them, or we'll message back and forth, or we'll become Facebook friends. And they're not even necessarily Plexus ambassadors, but they're just people that are struggling with cancer, that need hope, and they need to hear about somebody like me that made it and made it on top, and isn't sick, because that's one of the biggest fears before you go into cancer treatment. Like, what am I going to be like? Am I going to be sickly the rest of my life? Am I going to be old? Am I going to be, you just don't know. And so it really, I mean, it's been that part of it too, to be able to, for my journey to now be able to bless others is huge.
Yes. And just the fact, like, our product line, like, I know we're not going to go deep into the products, but like, the fact that our products are so amazing for helping, oxygenate your body and all these things. And then like our breast check kit, like just how all these products that we have are such a blessing to our lives and our health, and and then I love, like, the thing that I kind of got from your talk tonight is just make the decision. We all are going to have choices in our life if we're going to make excuses or we're going to just go for it. But make the decision to do that hard thing, whatever that hard thing is for you. Just make the decision. The decision is up to us, And I think it's so easy, like you were saying, to look at people who flew to the top and be like, well, they just had it easy. They didn't have any hard things. And I bet they did. I bet everyone that got there had something hard that they had to encounter. But all of us are going to have hard things, and even when you make it to the top, doesn't mean you're not going to have hard things anymore. We live on earth. We're going to have hard things as long as we're here. So, but Plexus can make it better when you have time freedom and financial freedom and all these friendships, you know, it makes the hard things bearable. So,
and I'm sure anybody that you talk to that's a jewel in this company will say that it was all worth it. I mean, everybody will say, I sacrificed time. I sacrificed this. It was hard. I had to work. But everybody says, heck yeah, it was worth it. I do it all over again.
Yes. So worth it, you guys. And then just one last takeaway. Everyone needs to get a Dawn in their life. Like literally, you guys can feel the energy from this woman and just how hungry she is and how willing to go for it she is. And I really know and believe that when Dawn and I partnered up together and we just started like collaborating and sharing ideas and stuff, her tenacity, like her boldness gave me permission to go for it, you guys. Like I was not projected. You guys know I was not projected. February should not have been our month to go Emerald. But seeing Dawn go Emerald in December and being a part of that journey with her, it did something inside of me. And I was like, we're doing this. We're going to do this. And I remember I was at the dinosaur museum with Eli when you went Emerald, and I'm like crying at the dinosaur exhibit. I'm sure people are like, what is going on with that?
Dinosaurs aren't sad. What?
But I mean, find people like that in your life, you know, and if you can't find somebody, be that person for yourself. But you need to surround yourself with people that give you permission to go for it. And I know that was huge. Like having Dawn in my life gave me permission to just be bold and go for it. So I loved that. And it's just been such a blessing having you in my life. But
you too. I love that. That's so awesome.
Well, let's open it up real quick. If you guys have questions, go ahead and unmute yourself and feel free to ask Dawn. We'll take about 5 minutes if we can. Anyone have questions? Wait, somebody.
Thanks, Carmen. Carmen sent me a private message, y'all.
Oh, nice.
Thanks, Carmen.
Yes. All right. Does anyone have questions?
Yay. She messaged 6 on her chicken list. She's nervous, but stepping outside. Yes.
Job.
That's so good. And if you don't have like bulletin boards or like a workspace, find a place to put your chicken list up. So if you're staring at those names every day, eventually you're going to get to it. All right. So yeah, make it visual.
Mm-hmm. So true.
There's actually a book called, let me see what she's saying here. You know, I actually, there's a book, and I don't know if it's the same one, called Do Hard Things. It was written for teenagers, and I actually bought that particular book called Do Hard Things for my daughter a couple of years ago. And the idea behind that particular book was how we don't encourage our children to do hard things. We have a tendency in our society and our culture to kind of baby them, and we put bubbles, and we want to make everything easy and everything fair. And anyway, so the whole book was written by teens that said, no, we need to be doing hard things. We need to be trying and going and doing the things that grown-ups don't think we're big enough to do. So anyway, so you can apply these principles for your kids too.
Yeah.
Right? Because our kids don't learn until, if we make it easy for them, they don't learn.
Well, and that's the thing with our business. Like we always think, okay, well, once I've arrived, then I can do this, that, and the other. But you're not going to get there until you do those hard things, And like Dawn was saying, I mean, you might be a silver ambassador and you might be like, well, once I'm gold, then I'll do this, Don't do that, you guys. Step into that leadership position now. And that's what's going to give you the confidence and the boldness. So when you are a gold ambassador, you are going to already be thinking and operating like a senior gold ambassador, do those hard things.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I don't know if anyone has questions. You guys are all quiet tonight.
I'll go ahead with a question.
Oh, hey, Steve.
Hey. The example that you gave with you overheard somebody talking about being tired in the grocery line or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to that person? What do you give that person for contact information? How do you approach that situation so that they're not run off, but yet they're intrigued to
Mm-hmm.
pursue or at least investigate?
You know, the most important thing is to be really good at asking the right questions. And so something like, you know, I don't mean to be nosy. I sort of overheard. Have you ever heard of Plexus before? Like, I would just say that. Have you ever heard of Plexus? And they're either going to say yes or no. And then that's going to lead to your next question. So then they say, well, no, I haven't. Say, you know, they were like, you know, Plexus is a health and wellness company, has these fabulous supplements that have really made a huge difference in my life or my husband's life, and I've seen them help in so many other people's lives. You know, I could certainly give you some more information, or I have a sample here. If you're interested, you know, just sort of like leading into it that way, and then I would try to initially try to turn it right back to a question as soon as you can, as soon as you have a segue to do that. So tell me more about, you know, if you have other health concerns or health issues. Tell me more about you. Tell me more about your goals. Get them doing the talking, because when someone walks away from a conversation, they think that they're like, oh, that was really great conversation. The person that thinks it was a great conversation is the one that did the most talking. And so, you know, we have a tendency, I know, because we get so excited about our products and are like, oh my gosh, I can help you. We want to just vomit Plexus information on somebody, and that will scare somebody off, especially in like a grocery line. They're like, whoa, dude, you know, slow down a little bit. You don't want to do that. So I always be good at asking questions and try to be quiet. And then that will naturally lead in, the more that they're talking, it'll naturally lead into more of a friendship type thing where you're then just asking a lot of questions about them. And then I always try to, at the very end, my ultimate goal is to have a new Facebook friend.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I would not even try to sell them the product at that point. It would be like, I've planted the seed. We've talked about it. I have an idea about what your health concerns or goals are. Let's be Facebook friends. And then I would follow up then and say, you send them a little message like, we're Facebook friends. And then I would send them a message. It was great to chat with you today in the Walmart line. I'd love to be able to send you some more information for you to review and to see if it would be something you think could help you. And then you take it, then you're educating them, because that's really what you want to do too. Ultimately, you want the person to make the decision, and that needs to be based on you educating them and meeting their needs. Yeah.
I love that. It makes it sound so much easier, because I know when I'm in those situations, you feel like, I don't know, basically asking the question, have you ever heard of Plexus before, takes all of that off of you. You know, you're just sharing about our company and the products. You don't have to be like, oh, well, I'm a Plexus ambassador and da-da-da-da. Like, just shift it to the company and the products. I love that.
Always be a good question. Practice asking questions. Become a great question asker. That's actually going to serve you really well if you're a team leader too, because if you're trying to help somebody increase their business, move to the next level, ask them the right questions for them to come to their own conclusions, instead of telling somebody, oh, you need to go do your DMO, you need to focus on IPA. Tell me about what is your daily method of operation look like? You know, tell me about your income producing activity. So anyway, always trying to turn something into a question is beneficial for building your customers and leading your team.
So true. Good. Does anyone else have a quick question? All right. All right, guys, you know the drill. We're going to take a picture. You guys,
I just have.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. I just signed up in February and to become an ambassador, so I'm kind of new. But everyone I've talked to so far seems to be very, very skeptical. How do you take, or how do you get people to take you seriously about this?
That's a good question. But well, first of all, your consistency is key. Because generally when you're first starting, people are waiting for you to quit. They're just waiting. I mean, because most people do. I mean, you know, they've seen other, oh, it's a network marketing thing, it's a direct sales thing. She's going to be really excited about it, but then she's not going to do it anymore. So they're kind of just, I mean, I know me personally, I'm sure Amber has the same story. I mean, I have people join my team that I've been working with for 2 years. Like, it's taken them that long, even seeing success. It takes people a long time. And that's okay. That's not something to get frustrated with. That's not something to get discouraged about. That just means that it's going to take time. You're going to have to continue to plant seeds just like you're doing. And you have to remain consistent and professional. Like, this is your thing. You know, you believe in the products, you know that they work. And so you're going to continue in that manner. And, it is important to build value. I mean, ultimately what people want to know is is this going to work for me? Okay. And so your job as as an ambassador and to be successful in this business is to create the value in their mind where they come to a place in their mind that they understand, yes, this could work for me, that you've built enough value that you've offered them hope. Okay. And so you just kind of have to keep digging in, so to speak, and sending. So if you're working, let's say with Mary, and you know that Mary's pre-diabetic and Mary's overweight and she could really use these products, right? So you're going to really work hard to provide testimonies that have shown that, you know, how Plexus has helped increase numbers with this person, how it's also helped with weight loss. So you're giving them the testimonies. Mary's skeptical about the ingredients. She doesn't understand what's in it. So then you've gone and you've sent her a YouTube video of Dr. Harris explaining what's in the ingredient. Then you're going to send Mary an ingredient list, and maybe you send her a third party. You know, maybe you send stuff from WebMD that says, you know, these are the ingredients that are in Slim, and this is what a third party has to say about these ingredients. You know what I mean? So it's work. But that's your job, is to create the value. So at some point, Mary finally was like, okay, I think this could work for me. Yes, I want it.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Okay, guys, get ready to take our picture. So if you want to be in it, show yourself. Okay, ready, set, hang on. My lighting's off. Sorry.
How do you do it? What are you going to do? You take an actual, like...
Yeah, I'm just like... Yeah, I don't know how to do. Somebody's trying to tell me how to screenshot on my computer.
I don't know. That's why I don't know how to do it. That's why.
I like you're ready to take the picture and then my computer's turned off. Awesome. Okay, ready? Set, cheese. Okay. Oh wait, Debbie, you were scratching your head. Ready? Set, cheese. Okay, awesome. You guys, thank you for jumping on. Dawn, you are a wealth of wisdom and just. She's such a go-getter, isn't she? Don't you guys just love it? So much.
That's sweet. Thank you. Well, I love you, Miss Amber. Thank you for having me.
For this girl, show us your fingernails. Are they still the color?
They're still blue. I need to get them redone. I did them last month blue. I need to get them re-blue. I was thinking about that. I think I might do it tomorrow. I think I might get them like white sparkles with blue gems. I think that would be
cool. That would be really pretty. Really pretty. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much, hon,
Thank you, guys.
for joining us. All right, guys, have a good night.